dance, doing the live dance, and we are live. Hello, everybody. I am HP Holo / Edie Skye. I write lots of stuff. I also know lots of other authors who write stuff, and occasionally we just talk about stuff. Appropriately, then, you are watching my podcast, Authors Just Talk About. And today we are talking about Helldivers 2. So today with me, I have Jacobdrugs Holo, Jamiepoo Ibson, Jason 380 Cordova, and Thomas J. Tom Pope. My first question is going to be explain these nicknames. But first, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. Tell us short bio, what you've got coming out, and any other fun stuff that you would like us to know before we dive into this very, very fun subject. Jacob, go first.
All right. My name's Jacob Holo. I guess the Helldiver call sign is Jacobdrugs.
You get.
And yes, you have to whisper it like the Eagle Sweat commercial.
That's right.
I write primarily science fiction, though I also dabble in fantasy. And I guess the thing I'm best known for right now is co-authoring the Gordian Division novels with David Weber. And
you've got a book coming out next month.
Yeah, I have a book coming out next month.
Yes,
thank you for reminding me.
It's up for pre-order now, and we're doing pre-order promo stuff. I've got pretty things in bags that I didn't actually prepare for display, but they're shiny. So anyway, next, Jamie.
I'm Jamie Ibson. I write sci-fi and fantasy as well. I do a lot of short fiction and edit short story anthologies as well. Next thing I've got coming out is the Depth Charge anthology, which is going to be coming out from Baen in December, but the e-arc just dropped last week. So if you want to read it in digital format, you can grab it from Baen right now. Work in progress right now. I'm working with Casey Moore's transcribing and editing the Buff Orpington saga because that's what we're doing.
All right, Jason.
My name's Jason 380 Cordova. I'm best known for writing military science fiction and urban fantasy, Monster Hunter Memoirs Fever with Larry Correa. And I just had a book drop this past week, Mountain of Fire, set in John Ringo's Black Tide Rising universe.
And it's fun. I'm reading it right now. It's I would show it too, but it is across the house and I'm not that fast. So. All right, Tom.
Hi, my name is Tom Pope. I mostly write fictional nonfiction. Most of it is in the Honorverse with David Weber. I'm the kind of chief librarian and continuity editor for the Honorverse. Things upcoming, Jacob and I are working on a number of different projects, including a novella and a trilogy. And I'm working as well with Jan Katauk and Timothy Zahn. We have some books coming there as well.
Got a lot of projects.
I have a lot of projects, yes.
Oh, yes. And since so many of the authors on this panel are Baen authors, in fact, you're all Baen authors. Anyway, Baen has allowed me to stream this to their channel, so thank you to Baen. But first, actually, I'm going to change my first question. Some people are watching this because they like Helldivers, and some people are watching this because they just think we're cool. So for the people who may not know what Helldivers 2 is, one of you explain the game. What genre is it? What makes it fun? Give us a short Helldivers rundown. Who wants to take that one?
Jason.
Jacob.
Jacob and Jason.
Rock, paper, scissors.
So Helldivers 2, it's a third person over the shoulder. It's military, it's satirical military sci-fi setting. You are a Helldiver, a quote-unquote elite soldier of Super Earth.
5 whole minutes of training.
And you're a bit of a glass cannon that gets thrown into really, really horrible situations. But you also have the help of your super destroyer that is in low orbit. and you can call down heavy weaponry. You can call down airstrikes, orbital barrages, sentry turrets, all sorts of stuff like that to help even the odds. And the odds really do need to be evened because it's a good thing that the developers gave each of the 4 players who participate, up to 4 players can participate in one mission, 5 spare lives each, because you can burn through those pretty quickly.
Sometimes literally.
And the setting is it has a bit of a Starship Troopers satirical vibe to it.
Propaganda-tastic.
The movie, though, not the book. The movie.
The movie.
For example, your Helldiver, he or she throws a grenade. It's like, have a nice cup of liberty, and various things like that. Or when like another example is the Helldiver will stim up and to heal, and it's like, ooh, a nice shot of liberty there, or something like that. So it's hilarious, it's action packed, and it's a load of fun with a group. And part of that is just the crazy things that can happen. In fact, one thing that happened fairly recently is that I was preparing to drop an Eagle cluster bomb airstrike, and I got flinched. And so I dropped it right where I was, and I think I eliminated everyone. I think
I would do, man.
I think the whole squad got eliminated by that bombing run there.
Start over, new batch.
Yeah.
The fact that that's part of the game, though, is one of my favorite things about it, because so the reason why I have these 4 on in particular is because these are Jacob's gaming buddies. I hear all of their games every other day, and they have so much fun that I had to get them on here to talk about it. I will join in occasionally whenever one of them is absent, and I am terrible at all shooter games because I'm terrible at aiming. and
that's
so
why we gave you the big stompy robot with the gigantic autocannons on both arms.
Robot. But the making mistakes and friendly firing your teammates, it's part of the humor of the game, and in that way failure becomes entertainment. And
I mean, that's exactly it. It's when you screw up, it's normally just this hilarious, memorable moment rather than something that you're stressing about, and that's one of the beautiful things about this game.
Jason, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was laughing because like the key word to know when Jason really screws up is when you hear "oops," and then like it gets dead silent on comms for like 5 seconds, and they're like, "Okay, well, let's go over."
That's because we're all looking around for where you are, so we can turn the other way and run away.
Which way do I need to run?
So Melissa's in the chat and says Heather should always have the big stompy robot ball.
It was absolutely a priority. Yes.
I got so mad whenever I realized I couldn't bring more than one robot on a mission, because I wanted to bring all the ones I have access to, but it would only let me bring one. And I was mad about it for like an hour. But
and that first mission, when you got your big stompy robot, there were 4 big stompy robots rocking around.
Yes, we had a whole team. It was so fun.
It was pretty viable. We were a little surprised.
Yes. All right. So now that we have a basic description of what the game is, I need to know the stories behind these nicknames, because now that I think of it, I only know the story behind 2 of them, despite the fact that I hear all your games. So let's see here. Who do we want to start with? We started with Jacob last time. Let's see. Jason, why is your nickname 380? I feel like there's a very explosive story behind this.
You're very true. The whole like
Jason, why is it?
Comes from my ability to constantly accidentally nail my teammates in the middle of a 380 barrage. And when I was first learning how to play with Jacob and Tom and Jamie, because I'm the last person to learn how to play this game, actually. I only just recently started. I had a hard time of knowing how to throw the marker for the 380. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to throw it right in front of me. No problem. It'll bounce. No, these stick. And we discovered that Jason doesn't realize they stick.
Oh, I still haven't figured out how to throw them. It's why Jacob always tells me to bring the robots and the guns. My Eagle airstrike occasionally.
Yeah.
And just for reference for viewers that don't know, the 380 millimeter high explosive orbital barrage is the biggest, widest, most destructive, most spectacular stratagem that you can call in from your super destroyer, and it is a load of fun. But also a lot of times there will be when they hit, they have a very distinct noise, and like I'll hear one hit and I'll turn to see where it's coming down, and you can see like the distance between you and the marker. And most of the time it lands and it's like, oh, I am too close. I need to get away from this.
Yeah, I think what's the footprint on it? Like 120 meters, 130 meters, something like that. And then the blast if it lands right on the edge. So it occupies a substantial chunk of the map. And like Jason was saying, if you try to fastball it, it does not go very far. You need to pitch these things at like a 45-degree angle to get maximum.
And then run away.
Distance.
And then run away. And tell your friends that it's going down range.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would suggest
always
more
forget
than
to yell.
oops. More than an oops.
All right, Tom, where does your nickname come from? Where's the J come from?
Well, because we were playing, and I was realizing that I was the only one without the J name, so I needed to fit in.
Ah,
So,
that is right.
Jason, Jamie, and J Tom.
Right. So you match now. Anthony is in the comments and says, brings a whole new meaning to danger close.
yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Comments to him.
Like, oh, that's danger close. I need to run. We say that a lot.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob.
All right, so my nickname is Jacobdrugs, and the way this came about is that when the war bond, and war bonds are sort of like, I guess the game's equivalent of like a seasonal pass. It's not exactly the same, but it's something they can buy with the premium currency, and you can then unlock a whole bunch of different things. And one of them is a booster that enhances the stims that the Helldivers use to shoot up. And these stims have no addictive properties whatsoever. Super Earth High Command has assured us of this repeatedly, along with Permacura, the manufacturers of the stims have also assured us that they have no addictive qualities.
Put your life in our hands.
So for a while there, I was the only one who had access to that booster, and I was bringing it because it's a very good booster. It temporarily increases the speed that your Helldiver moves, and gives you some additional damage protection for a period after you've shot up. So we were using it fairly regularly, and they simply became known within our group as Jacobdrugs. And they are still called Jacobdrugs in our group, despite the fact that I believe everyone has unlocked them at this point. So that's my nickname, is Jacobdrugs.
And now Jamie, I got to watch this one happen live, so it was exciting.
It's a burger. And it's not a burger I've ever had before.
This might be one for Jason or Jacob
right
to
now.
tell.
Like there's bacon and cheese and barbecue sauce and looks like tomato and lettuce and some other stuff. I don't know. You came across this while you were traveling. Was it to Dragon Con, I think, maybe? I don't know. But it was recent. And you sent me like the picture of the menu, and it just says all capitals Jamiepoo, and I'm like, is that meant to be sent to me? Like it looks like it maybe, but I don't know.
I think you need to buy one and then just ship it to him. Like get one of those freezer packs.
Yeah,
We
Ship it
totally
overnight.
the skip the dishes bill's going to be brutal, but sure.
So Jason sent that, and we were sort of joking that, well, is that Jamie's Helldiver nickname now? And it's like, okay, well, what is everyone else's nickname? And so then we just kind of went down the line. It's like, well, it's Jamiepoo, Jacobdrugs, J Tom, and 380. And that just kind of the unofficial became, I guess, official at that point.
Yes, I don't have a nickname yet. I haven't played enough to earn one, I don't think. I was joking before the panel that mine should be Friendly Fire because I'm friendly and most of my gameplay is Friendly Fire. So,
I don't know. I would go 3,100 damage, Jacob, with team damage today, Jacob. 3,100.
just a little bit. Just a little bit, yeah.
Friendly Fire is the name of our text chat when we talk about when we're next gaming. So.
All right, so next question. We're going to talk about stratagems and builds and everything. So this could easily be its own panel. So first off, someone should probably explain what a stratagem is. But then once that's established, what are your favorite stratagems to use? What are your favorite builds against bots? And then your favorite builds against bugs or favorite builds in general. So let's see.
So I guess I can explain the basics of a stratagem. So a stratagem is like a power that's on a cooldown, and so it's a limited resource. Some of them have fairly short cooldowns, like close to 1 minute. Some of them have very long cooldowns that, like, the default is like 10 minutes. And utilizing your stratagems intelligently is one of the keys to success in the game.
So whenever you drop, you have standard weapons, like you have your primary and your secondary, usually like a rifle or a gun, but then the stratagems are the fun ones. I don't think I've used my primary or secondary weapon in like a month. I always call my stratagems down. I love them. But so do you guys have any favorite go-to stratagems that you just always love?
Yeah, for bugs, always Gatling barrage, machine gun. I use the cookout shotgun because I just like to see all the bugs catch on fire when I shoot them. Makes me feel better. Guard dog rover, the laser one. I don't like the machine gun one. Jamie's been trying to sell me on this for a while, but I actually prefer the laser one.
Better.
So I don't know. I like watching my teammates run in front of it and get set on fire because they're stupid.
See nickname for more.
So and then let's see that one.
And the
machine gun turret, and then I said Gatling barrage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't actually taken this.
Basically, I like the fast reload when I'm on bugs because there's just so many. You get swarmed, and I don't mean that as a pun, but that's actually a pretty good pun. You get swarmed by bugs hard, especially on the levels we play. So you want to bring something fast, reloading, and because what you're going to do is the three of us are going to like bundle up together and try to kill everything while Jacob's off doing Jacob things.
Jacob carries all the games, doesn't he?
Jacob carries all. We're like, oh hey, we survived the bug swarm. Meanwhile, Jacob's off there, killed like half the map already. It's like, oh, wait for us.
Most of the way to the primary objective, and it's taking care of a couple secondaries along the way.
Yeah.
That sometimes happens.
Sometimes like 80%.
So I'd say my favorite build is on the bot front. And so I like wearing one of the stealth armors, and I like taking the autocannon, the Eagle airstrike, the 120 millimeter barrage, and the 380 millimeter barrage. And I like sneaking up on bot bases and obliterating them, and then running away, and then obliterating something else. And it's like, oh, one of my big barrages is on, is off of cooldown. It's an itch. I need to go to some other target, and I'll just like leave the group. It's like I need to spend this barrage.
It's like turn around. Where's Jacob off to? Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, he's halfway across the map again.
All the way over there. How about you, Tom?
So when I'm not doing random useless things for fun, I tend to take the Quasar, which is sort of a burst laser cannon, which is good at shooting big bugs or shooting down dropships when the bots are landing. And so that's kind of my job is to do a little bit of control when one of the little robots fires up a flare, there will be some dropships coming in with bigger robots and more robots. So I try to shoot those down. I often take a orbital rail cannon strike just to kill big things. So you throw it and it'll find the biggest thing on the map nearby and kill that. I almost always take the rocket turret, and then I've sort of rotate between different things. Sometimes a backpack for defense, or sometimes another strike or something like that for my fourth.
Or
But-
mines.
What's that? Or mines. Yes.
Oh, mine. All right.
That's usually
Hey,
when
Mom,
I'm.
there's more mines again. Yeah, I know.
They're
Jamie?
really very useful, but they tend to irk
They
my
kill a lot of
teammates.
Helldivers while they're being useful too.
Yes.
Friendly fire.
You have contributed.
We'll
to the
refer
battle
everyone to
report.
the name of our chat group, Friendly Fire. It's like, Tom, why is the path toward extraction a huge minefield?
Okay. It's still not as bad as the time when they had the incendiary mines when they first came out, and all of us were like, "Hey, let's all take the incendiary mines," and the whole map was glowing red, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Someone died, and one person died, and triggered the whole map, and it crashed the game.
That was also around the time that sometimes the mines wouldn't appear.
Oh
They
yeah.
would be invisible to some
Oh,
players.
no.
Yeah, and like, oh, you like, I remember one case, I forget who, but someone had gone into a minefield and they got blown up, and so your samples, which is a resource that you want to get to extraction, it's like, oh, I'll just go in and get the samples. I can see clearly that the path to the sample container has been cleared. It wasn't clear. It was. The minefield was bugged, and I went down too.
I think 3 of us went down before we finally decided to start shooting the ground in front of us.
Yes,
as we
we
walked.
started shooting the ground
Who's got the Plasma Punisher?
to
But
pave
those
a
are
path
super
to our
samples.
samples.
But those are super samples. We had to get the super
Yes,
samples.
we had to get the super samples back. Yeah.
My life
I
for
like-
Super Earth.
Yes.
I like that even the game developers recognize the chaos of the mines, because there was that one promotional graphic that came out from one of the, I want to say it was one of the DLC packs, where if you look at where one of the soldiers' feet is placed, it's like right near a mine in the, or it was a
Escalation of freedom.
yes.
Yeah, one of the Helldivers is standing right next to an anti-personnel mine, and the other one is standing right next to a hell bomb. And this is the ground that they are holding.
Yes.
I love the hell
It
bomb.
is very much in character for the Helldiver to be holding very precarious ground.
Jamie.
I play 2 completely different strategies depending on who we're fighting. When we're fighting bots, I bring the railgun for my heavy weapon. Basically, it's like a charge-up rifle. I think of it almost like a musket. You know, like most bullets these days, we use like 223 or 7.62 or whatever. But this one is like pop can sized, and it just makes like a hole through stuff when you shoot it. And against the bots, it's fantastic. Against all the mediums, the berserkers with the chainsaw arms, and the devastators and all their different flavors and stuff like that. But the high point of any mission for me is when I'm being chased by a Hulk, and I can turn around, and the Hulk looks like a Space Marine dreadnought. Basically, it's like a walker. It's on 2 legs. It's got a huge boxy torso, and then usually there's a flamethrower on one arm and a chainsaw on the other, and they are just awful, and they're very difficult to kill. They've got vents on the back that you can target as a weak point. But on the front, they have a single glowing eye. And if you can basically place it like at the point of the eye or a little bit above, the railgun will go in one side and out the other side, and it will just drop dead. And I had the best game yet the other day when it was 3 shots, 3 dead Hulks, one after another, as they were coming racing out of a base. So that was pretty good. I should have just retired at that point. But so with bots, I like the railgun. I like the machine gun guard dog. It hits a lot harder than the laser one does, even though it needs to reload. I like to bring the Eagle 110s. The Eagle is like your close support. Think of it like an A10 Warthog kind of thing, where it will swoop in and strafe or drop bombs or whatever it is you need it'll do. And the 110s are kind of like a slightly less powered version of the rail cannon that Tom mentioned, where with the rail cannon, you throw the marker beacon, it shoots up the laser, and then your super destroyer like lights it up with a laser, and then the rail cannon blows up, whatever. The Eagle 110s operate the same way. You throw it forward, and then Eagle swoops in and drops these rockets on the biggest targets. And they can one-shot tanks. They can one-shot Hulks. It's not quite as absolute as the rail cannon, but it's still quite good. And you get 3 Eagle shots instead of 1 rail cannon. So I like it for that. And then I like the autocannon turret, because the autocannon turret will ruin most of the medium's days as well. But with the bugs, I like Jason was saying, I like the fast reload stuff. I'll typically bring the Break Your Incendiary, which is a flaming shotgun that shoots from a magazine. It was so overpowered that the developers had to nerf it and reduce their magazines from 6 to 4. They didn't really mess with it other than that, and I'm fine with that, because one of my builds, I'll bring the Breaker Incendiary and then a supply pack, which I can reload from. So the fact that I've only got 4 magazines doesn't really matter. And then with the bugs, I'll usually either bring the grenade launcher, which also is ammo hungry, and the supply pack works really well for that. Or I'll bring the Stalwart machine gun, which is the lightest machine gun you can bring. But the beauty of it is you can reload it on the run. A lot of these heavy weapons, when you reload them, you need to like stop and manipulate the weapon. The medium and the heavy machine gun are like that. The recoilless rifles like that. The spears like that. And stopping on the battlefield and having to reload because you missed is really awkward. So the Stalwart will let you reload on the run. And then orbital gas, I didn't bring it for the longest time. And then I found out that it reloads in like a minute 10 at its base level, and it will kill bots and bugs. I'll bring the Gatling barrage and a light machine gun turret. And each of those stratagems has like a minute and 10 cooldown. And that's just like rapid cycling through everything and getting the firepower where you need it instead of saving it for a rainy base. Mm-hmm. So I like those a lot. We've done some really fun theme builds with a bunch of us too, right? Like just today we did one where it was all lasers all the time. We brought
that was fun,
and the laser gun and the laser pistol and the guard dog laser and the orbital laser. And then we decided that the rail cannon counts because it uses a laser targeting.
It's a big old laser, yeah.
Right, yeah. It's just think of a rail cannon like a cat, and you won't be wrong.
Wow, I'm over here using no strategy whatsoever.
We also broke the game one time running an all turrets build. We did a geological survey, which are notorious because there's a secondary objective and then the primary. And when you activate the objective on both locations, the bots know, or the bugs know, and then they come swarming in. And so we just ran around. We set up a fire base. We had 4 explosive mortars and 2 EMS mortars, and then surrounded it by a ring of machine guns and autocannons and rocket launchers. And then we hit go and just let them come to the meat grinder, and the turrets did all the work. It was fantastic. There was so much.
Dropship comes flying over. It just gets shot down immediately by those turrets.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to ask about the most insane missions after this now. As for me, like when I play just about any game ever, I use no strategy whatsoever. And in Helldivers, I pretty much bring the same things all the time. I love the autocannon. Like, it's so versatile. You can snipe with it. You can shoot close things with it. It kills most things within a few shots, and I just love it. But there's 2 big stompy robots you can bring. And I forget its name, but my favorite of those is the one that actually has the autocannons equipped. The Patriot is the other one, and I find it less
the Emancipator.
The Emancipator is the one that I like. I always tend to bring a turret, though, because they're really handy, especially when you're getting swarmed. And I vary what kind of turret I bring, usually based upon what Jacob tells me to bring for a given thing. Or and some of the turrets, too, like I leave them, and then they tend to be more prone to friendly fire than other turrets. Like, I think I've started bringing the mortar turret because it's less likely to kill my teammates, I think, because of the way it fires. Is the mortar? No, it's not. Which one is it that is less likely to kill? See, this is why I just asked the
They're
guy.
all likely to kill your
Yeah.
teammates.
Yeah, it's just
The mortar,
Mortars, like
especially.
you say,
Yeah.
mortar will
The problem
kill
with the
teammates.
mortars is that
Mortars are
the
worse.
bad guys like to get close, which means the mortar is shooting when the bad guys are close to you. That's problem number one. And problem number two happens when you've killed the thing, but the mortar over there lobbed its bombs, and then you run forward because the
Yes.
bad guys were between you and your objective, and then you are crossing the bad guys as the mortars arrive. And
Maybe I'll just stop using the mortar then.
Oh, there's good times for it, but yeah, just
and the
you know,
EMS mortar can fix a lot of that, especially if you pair it with another one, right? Because the EMS mortar will shoot a static field that paralyzes the bugs and the bots in place, and then your other cannon just eats it up.
Oh, Robert's asking, what is a Helldiver? A Helldiver is just the name for the characters in the game, for the kind of soldier you play.
Orbital drop troops.
Yep.
Yeah, this earlier today, we were playing fairly early in a mission, and you hear this little like womp sound when one of your teammates dies, and Jason just says, "Ah, Tom, you brought the mortars."
We got a few good little comments in the chat. So Anthony says the enemy can't figure out what you're doing if you don't know what you're doing. Very true. And then Acanthus has actually a really good observation about the fire strats. Also, if you read the flavor text for improved fire strats, they added capsaicin and the chemicals that make horseradish spicy to the fuel. Oh my gosh, yes. The flavor text is one of the most fun.
Can't argue with results.
Yeah, so some of the other ones, I think one of the ones that makes the turrets more durable is that they pack the turrets with the peanut styrofoam, and like another one is that they changed all the guns on the super destroyer, so you don't have to like load them by shoving the rounds down the muzzle anymore.
They made
And if you like think about it, it's like, what sense does this even make? It's just like some of these are like Gatling guns.
There's one of the descriptors is for one of the orbital barrage, and it's where it fires an extra round when it's shooting. And it says, after like this multi-billion-dollar, multi-year study, Super Earth concluded that the most effective way to improve the efficiency of the barrages is to add more guns. And so that's what we're doing. And away you go.
I also like the flavor text when you're in the middle of a drop. My favorite one is always the C-01 form. That one's always my favorite. Whenever like we get swarmed by bots and I'm yelling at Jacob, Jacob, did you forget your C-01 form again? It's like, no, I didn't.
All right, so next question. This game is prone to crazy missions because everything can go insane really fast. I want to hear about particularly memorable ones. And I've got one in mind, which is actually my very first one ever. But I want to hear from you guys first.
So I guess I'll start. So there's a type of mission, it's called Eradicate. And Eradicate is you have a very small area that you can maneuver around in, and the enemies just come and they just keep coming. And you have to kill a certain amount of them, and then you win the mission. And as soon as you drop, there are already some light enemies at the base, typically. But then almost immediately you start getting waves and waves of pretty heavy enemies. So one enemy type that is difficult to deal with in large quantities in this situation is the bot Berserker, because the Berserker it's rushing toward you, and it's got meat saws for arms, and it's got a lot of health. And so we were playing an Eradicate, and I had gone to this one corner and I'd set up a heavy machine gun turret, and I was manning the turret, and I'm just watching Jason and Jamie just sort of like run back and forth across this like landing pad. and there was just this caravan of berserkers just following them, just this blob of and all their like meat saws are buzzing. There's like sparks flying from as they're like revving them up, ready to chop up some Helldivers. And I'm just like, I just like my entire HMG into them. And it's like, it was hilarious.
So my favorite was when we discovered there's a certain trophy you can earn called Gone in 360 Seconds. And right after they introduced the flaming hell pods, we realized the beauty of a flaming hell pod is you could drop on a bot base, land on it, and wipe it out. So we tried it, and all 4 hell pods came screaming at once. We hit different areas on it. We wiped out and beat the map in literally like 3.5. It took longer to do the extraction than it did to beat the map because of how fast we dropped onto it. And like the poor bots didn't even know what to do. They start shooting up flares. We're already leaving because we had achieved the objective on the drop.
How about you, Tom? Do you have a favorite?
I keep generating new ones, so it's always moments. It's not like a whole mission or anything like that. I think my favorites are always the time where you just get in like the zone and things are really working. Like Jamie was talking about the 3 headshots, 3 Hulks things, and and things like that. So what I started doing at one point, I realized that the Quasar was my go-to weapon of choice to shoot down bot things, and at one point I realized I've got another one because you have these stratagems and they cool down, and I have a Quasar on my back, but you shoot it and then you've got to wait like 6 seconds or something for it to cool down enough to take another shot. And usually when the bot dropships come in, there's going to be 1 or 2 or 3 of them. And so I realized that I can drop a second one, and so I've got a Quasar on the ground. I would take a shot, kill a dropship, pick up the other Quasar that is cooled down, take a shot, kill another dropship. By that time, the first Quasar is cooled down. And having a run like that where it's like 2, 3, 4 dropships in a row, and they're all falling out of the air, blowing up, sometimes falling on my friends because that's just part of it. So it's moments like that, and so but there's always a new one. There's always something new, and it's even silly moments like this. Just earlier today, I had the autocannon because I'd brought a really suboptimal weapon because I was trying a build that was really dumb against bots. And so I borrowed an autocannon from Jacob, and I'm running around the map chased by Hulks and things like that. And I finally get a moment, so I reload my autocannon, and it's sort of, you crouch down and the camera goes a little bit closer to you when you crouch, so you can't see as much of your area around. So I finish loading the autocannon, I stand back up again, and there are treads right there of the tank that is like rolled over the rock and is right there on top of me. And so just moments like that are just beautiful in this game. But they keep coming, they'll come and go and fly through your minds.
How about you, Jamie?
Kind of sort of like Tom was saying, there's individual moments and stuff like that. I remember the day that we were really tight as a team. We were complimenting each other and covering each other and stuff like this, and we were fighting bugs. And before I started playing with the guys, I was just logging in with randoms, and I preferred to play against bots because I didn't really realize how different the game needed to be to fight against bugs. And so then we're playing bugs, and I want to say it was one of like the drill down and destroy the nursery missions. And so there's this great big bug infested area, and you've got to get in there and you call down basically like a nuclear bomb attached to a drill, and it takes its time getting itself ready. And when you start drilling, all the bugs in the area get real mad and they start rushing in. The biggest bugs you fight are called bile titans, and they're about 40 feet tall, 50 feet tall. They walk around on these stilt legs. They can just stab you and one-shot you to death. And then when they're not busy stabbing you, they barf acid at you, and it's bad. And so all 4 of us were basically around the central drilling rig. And Tom is hitting with one bile titan with a Quasar. He's like, okay, titan down. And I'm looking at a titan, and it's not down yet. And I realized, oh, we have multiple Titans. This is a problem. and so then I'm calling in my 110 rockets to take out the Vile Titan, and it hits and it wounds it, but it doesn't kill it. But there's Jason with his 4-barreled commando missile launcher, and he fires 2 missiles, and it takes down that Vile Titan. And then an Impaler walks around the corner, and 110s again wound it, and then Jason finishes it off with his rockets again. And it was just like, these are some of the biggest, heaviest, baddest bugs there are on the map, and they didn't stand a chance, and it was awesome. So that was an awful lot of fun. Being able to play off each other, and especially with the cooldowns, with the stratagems and the reloads and the Quasar and other weapons that need to cool down and stuff like that, being able to just rapidly switch between priority targets, covering each other's backs, it was awesome. It was wicked fun.
Yeah.
My favorite it still remains my very first mission. I think it was actually one of your first ones too, Tom. And Jacob had already played for a bit, so he knew what he was doing. But the two of us were still learning our way around. And our mission was a simple mission. It was one of those raise the flag missions. But it was on, I forget the name of the planet, but it's the fire planet, the fire tornado planet.
It might have been on Hellmire.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And the first half of the mission, goes well. And then we started observing, those fire tornadoes are getting a little close. They're still safe. They're still a little far away. They're still good. And so we plant our flag. We wait for it to go up. We're just watching the flag to see if it'll do anything other than go up really slowly to dramatic music. And all of us are so captivated by this flag that suddenly a fire tornado comes up on us and we all die burning. And then we recover, we play more, and then we get to extraction. And we set up an extraction and we're watching stuff happening. And we are successfully sort of fighting, but then 5 different fire tornadoes converge on our extraction point at the exact same time. And so our ship's trying to land. We're trying to run from the fire tornadoes and failing. And it was madness, and it was hilarious, and honestly pretty characteristic of Helldivers in general. But I loved it. All right, next question. Do you have a favorite enemy to fight, or a favorite type of planet to fight on? Or alternately, do you have a least favorite type to fight on? My least favorite is fire planets.
Least favorite's easy. The jungle planets. Oh, I hate those ones because that eliminates half your eagle stratagems right off the bat.
Yeah, they get stuck in the trees.
Yeah, and they get stuck. Yeah, and not only that, but you can't see anything, and you can't do the long range sniping with the. I use the plasma punisher a lot when I'm playing against bots, and it's very good at taking them out with 1 or 2 shots from a distance. But when you're in the jungle, you don't get that distance advantage. So you come around a big tree, and all of a sudden you got a patrol there, and they all turn and look at you at one, like, "Hello," meets off. And you're just like,
"Oh, that's a tank."
Yeah.
How many times do we say that today?
Yeah.
Like, we killed that tank. No, that's the first tank. What about the other tank?
He doesn't know about second tank.
He doesn't know about these tanks either.
I think my favorite enemy
I like the ice planets. The ice planets, as far as I'm concerned, Super Earth citizens, just move to ice planets, guys. I know I'm Canadian, and that's like got a winner joke there, but long sight lines, no trees, and all of your heat weapons are far more effective. And the worst thing that you've got to deal with is the occasional blizzard. Ice planets are awesome to fight on. Jungle planets suck. As far as favored enemies, I both love and hate the Hulks. I talked about hole punching them in the face earlier, and that's easily the best moment of any game. When I play D&D, the saying is the best moments happen at 1s and 20s, and Helldivers seems to work exactly the same, where you have your crowning moment of awesome, and you have your calamitous moment of disaster, and that's where all of the fun happens.
Tom?
Chargers are my favorite enemies when I'm on a roll, because when I'm on a roll and it's like, one of the team member calls out charger, I get myself set up and I face shot it with the Quasar and kill it. And then, I wait a little bit to cool down, another charger, face shot, kill. Like, those are great. They're my least favorite enemies when I'm not on the roll and I take like 4 or 5 shots with a couple grenades. And so there's there's the great moments where one's charging right down towards you, and the quasar takes a while it takes a while to get up to its shot too. So you have to hold down the trigger basically for a while, and then it will release the shot. And so it's like you see this thing charging closer and closer and closer, and you just hope it goes off soon enough to kill it. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
Heather, you gotta share that one.
Huh?
That comment in the chat.
Oh, from Anthony.
That one.
Off PTSD kicks in.
I don't understand. We win on these ice planets. It's good.
We do.
I like the ice planets too. I don't really have a favorite or least favorite. I just kind of vibe. I go where you guys say we're fighting. Jacob?
So I think my favorite enemy used to be the Charger, and I think it will be again fairly soon. So when we before the most recent patch, I was the flamethrower guy. I was the very much the fire warrior, of the team, setting stuff on fire. Sometimes myself. In fact,
I need to interrupt you for a second. You guys, I have heard so much about this patch and how much he hates it since it happened. He's not exaggerating when he continues the story. So continue, Jacob.
So, like, part of my role in the team would be there would be a Charger, and a Charger is heavily armored. It's charging at you like its name says. It just runs you down and can one-shot you. And they're very difficult to deal with. And so I would use stun grenades to immobilize the Charger, and then I would flambe it. And that was what one of the ways I was participating in keeping the group clear of threats as we moved from objective to objective. And then the flamethrower got nerfed like 2 days before the fire-themed Warbond was released, which I was also very excited about because it's like, more fire toys. And I am very much looking forward to the upcoming patch where the flamethrower gets reverted and gets actually gets some buffs in addition to being reverted back. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And I think Chargers will be one of my favorite enemies again because they're giving us a wider tool set to deal with that threat. And I enjoy the flamer. I enjoy the risk reward of that play style when dealing with the bugs. In terms of planets, honestly, I love them all. I think they're all great. I guess if I were to pick one that was my least favorite, it would probably be the one with the tall trees where the Eagle airstrikes get caught on the trees and they're far less effective. But honestly, I even love the fire tornado planets, or the planets where like meteors are coming down, or like volcanoes erupting, or just these crazy environmental threats. I think they did a great job with the environments in this game.
Yeah, they really did make the planets feel different, and the effects do change and affect the gameplay. On the fire planets, your stamina is reduced for running, so you can't rip across the map at the same speed because you overheat more quickly. You get blizzards and sandstorms that cut visibility back, and that's another one of those, oh, that's a tank moments, is where you're heading towards the objective and your visibility is like 10 feet, and then you're like, you hear something, okay, I hear bots, they're around here somewhere, and then this like shape looms out of the sand ahead of you, and it's like a quad-barreled tank turret that's just, and it's dive to the side, run for cover, find a rock, call in a 110, call for help, throw thermite, and suddenly it gets. And normally those planets, like with the sandy ones or the blizzardy ones, those are the ones with the good visibility, usually, right? They don't usually have a lot of trees that obscure visibility. And
right.
So
They have really good
like
visibility until there. Yep.
Yeah, getting ambushed in the middle of a blizzard or a sandstorm like that can be a heck of a surprise.
Oh, by the way, everyone, for those who are watching, if you would like to see some of the hijinks we get up to, I am sharing a link in the chat. it is to a playlist on Jacob's and my YouTube channel called Helldivers with the Boys and HP, where it's just short little fun videos of the things I've recorded that we've played. So if you have enjoyed this panel, you will probably enjoy that too. My next question is, when you guys are playing together, how do you prefer to play? Like, does everyone go in with optimized builds, or do you just throw stuff together and play for fun? Or do
What
you play
difficulty are we
different?
playing at?
Yeah.
So we do have this. We used to do this. Now we've kind of gotten away from it lately, but there was a time when we went in dressed as the boys. We were all wearing the same uniform, same outfit, same cape, same player card.
Right. It
It
started
just
with
we
Viper
were
Commando,
a
didn't it?
team. Yeah. But we kind of got away from that since. It's just I like my new one that's like all nice white until it gets covered with blood and robot and gore, and then it's like, okay, no longer pretty white.
Is that the White Wolf?
Yeah,
armor?
the White Wolf one.
Yeah. Yep, that's good. So I think when we're on, we will go for quite a while where we all do have sort of our optimized builds that we're working on. Like a lot of times, I will take the standard I'm sort of standard long range fire support, and things like that. So we'll have games like that, but we'll also have games where it's like we're gonna all take every possible orbital stratagem we can and just make everything explode, or we're gonna all take turrets, or like so we'll have games. And like today, I spent a lot of time just trying out incredibly wrong builds for the wrong moments. I brought a great anti-bot build or anti-bug build against bots.
Or like there's the time when Tom says, "Hey, Jason, I don't think that's such a horrible idea. Why don't you try it?" So there goes the Tesla tower right into the middle of the base. Tesla towers do not discriminate who they kill.
They pop Helldivers pretty quickly.
They do.
Or like the one time where we all took all the mines.
Yes.
That was a defend mission, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the mines and
we crashed that game. We crashed the game, that one.
Yeah. Too many explosions, too much math. The thing though is, with the customized builds and stuff, we do tend to have our roles in the team, but the difficulty changes things too, right? If we're gonna, so for those who don't know, Helldivers scales from 1, which is trivial, 5-minute secondary objectives in later levels are the primary objective in the lowest level missions, all the way up to level 10, super Helldive, and that is absurd, and I've never actually attempted it. When we first started playing, we tended to play it at level 5, and then we got comfortable and we started working as a team, and then we wanted to push up to level 6, because level 6 is where you can find the elusive super samples, which are necessary to unlock some of the upgrades to your ship, and you can't get those at the lower levels. So for quite a while we stuck to level 6, but as we got more comfortable as a team and as we got better as players, that's when we started introducing the goofy theme builds and the, hey, let's try this and that kind of thing. And it also kind of changed it where we could afford to just screw around and not take it seriously, because we were okay with that. We weren't being as competitive in some of that. And then tonight, for example, we pushed up to level 7, and now we've got drop ships dropping more or less automaton AT-ATs on our heads. And that does, at that level, screwing around is not really an option. You need stuff that will be effective, because otherwise you're just going to burn through your recruits and everybody's going to die. And that is no good
That's what I learned very, very clearly. It's like, I should not have screwed around. I should have gone back to the old standard.
So how does the gameplay experience differ when you're playing by yourself or with randoms versus when you're playing with buddies? Because it feels like there is a distinct difference to me. Helldivers 2 is the only game I've actually enjoyed playing multiplayer. It's actually kind of boring to me when I'm just playing alone. Do you guys find that as well?
For sure.
I won't play very, very, very rarely will I play with randoms. If none of these guys are on, I'll just be like, whatever, I'll play tomorrow.
Because you never know who you're going to get paired up with. Like that day that Jason and I were playing together, and I'd left matchmaking on public, and we had a level 6 5-year-old log in. And
No, he was closer to
And
8.
we run a
He
mission.
was annoying enough where it was an 8-year-old.
Child.
But
He was a child.
this kid was just, guys, don't leave me behind, guys, don't leave me
They're
behind.
shooting at me. We're like, dude, yeah. He got mad that he got
Shoot it.
friendly
What do I do?
fires, and we
Shoot
were
it.
like, yeah, that happens. That's part of the game. It's unfortunate, but we're calling you back right away.
You killed me.
But part of the thing was, like, we played an entire mission with him and he wasn't using his mic whatsoever. We had no idea. It just looked like a new player, like level 6. And sometimes it's somebody's second account and they know what they're doing. And this kid did not know what he was doing. And then we start the second mission and now he's got his mic and he starts talking and we're like, oh, okay. Language. And then we go through and we finish the mission and we're heading for extraction. And he's like, you guys aren't going to kick me now that we're at extraction, right? I'm like, no, dude, we're all getting on the Pelican. It's fine. It was, yeah. So playing with randoms is a heck of a roll of the dice. I played solo until I wasn't good enough to complete a mission solo. And then I played with randoms and I got sick of that real fast. And then I just kind of shelved it and went back to playing something else for a while. And then we were at LibertyCon and then Jason's like, hey, so I was at Jacob and Heather's and Helldivers, right? And I'm like, Helldivers, yeah. And it's been amazing ever since. It's been wicked fun. It really is a brilliant game for the team aspect of it, and they've really kind of hit it right between the crosshairs with being able to get it so that the co-op play, especially with a team, is the way that you want to be playing. There's plenty of games where, oh yeah, you're just going to get some AI controlled buddies if you don't have enough buddies to fill out the roster. I'm playing Space Marine 2 right now, and that's how it works, right? You can run the campaign with the primary and 2 secondary Space Marines to help, but you get AI buddies if you don't. And I'm rapidly losing interest because this is just way too much fun, and Space Marines takes itself too seriously. But
yeah. So if you could change one thing about the game, what would you change?
I have a list.
One thing. What's the
one thing? If I could get any one thing, I'd add a variable distance scope to my railgun because I love it and I hate not being able to face punch hulks from a distance.
I think setting aside the balance updates and new content that is coming and the next patch is coming very soon. I would like to see some way to spend once you've basically gotten like all the ship modules and you've gotten unlocked all the stratagems, something to spend your resources on at that end game state, because I got nothing to spend my samples on. I got nothing to spend my medals on until like the next war bond comes out. My requisition slips have been frozen at 50,000 for a while, which is the cap, which only comes down whenever there's like something, like a new stratagem to purchase or something like that.
Yeah, Jacob has started playing on my account because I'm not maxed out and his account is. So he's just getting stuff from me because I don't care.
You're I think I have you up to level 50 now.
Oh dang. What level was I when you started? Like 15?
20 something?
Yeah, I was low.
You just got your Stompy robot, so it must have been like 25.
No, it's 25.
Yeah. Thank you, Jacob, by the way, for playing my game and leveling me up.
I've unlocked a lot of stuff for you.
All right. So we're getting close to the top of the hour, and so I have one more question for you. Now, if you were to write in the Helldivers universe or write and then scrape the serial numbers off, what would your book be about?
I can't say because I'm actually doing that right now.
Oh, well, we look forward to reading it.
I want to say, because I haven't convinced my co-author that we're going to do it yet, but part of the insanity of the Buff Orpington saga is that he's going to genre jump. We're going to do a book or 2 or 3 in a particular genre. This first one is going to be techno-barbarians in post-apocalyptic Earth, and then they'll use tech, and instead of going back in time like they want, they'll step sideways, and then it'll be like the year 3000 something, and we're not sure what we're going to do yet. But I want to do Buff in a Helldivers-esque, propagandastic, dystopian verse where everybody is totally fine with managed democracy, and Buff and his people are going, "What is this?" And then finding themselves conscripted into the Helldiver, or whatever we would call something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, not for sure yet, but we'll see.
How about you, Jacob or Tom?
So, if I were to write Helldiver fan fiction novel, it would be from a character standpoint, it would probably be centered around a love story between a Helldiver and the pilot of Eagle One. And so she's the fighter bomber pilot.
Oh, okay.
And
the voice actress is she.
And you also have some interesting dynamics that you can play with, because Helldivers can be frozen for periods, and so you can sort of play with what one of the characters has experienced more time and more events than the other one. And you could also have, like, say like a Helldiver squad where one of them has been defrosted and he was fighting during the First Galactic War, but he's new to the Second Galactic War. And so you can kind of play around with stuff like that. There was in the game, there are these dispatches that go out, and some of them are hilarious. Like, there was recently a major order, a community goal to collect a certain number of samples, and some players cheated. So there was a dispatch where the Helldivers who honorably completed their objectives received their medals, and those who did not had their pet fish.
Didn't they say they turned in counterfeit samples or something? Was how they?
Yes, the counterfeit samples, and that their pet fish were summarily executed. So I would absolutely have a scene where a Helldiver's pet fish is executed by the democracy officer. So yeah, and you can tell I haven't thought about this at all. The planet would be Malevelon Creek. It would be called Fires of Malevelon. And the big climax would essentially be
a title.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this too. I didn't know you had thought about it that much. And we live in the same house.
If I were to write Helldiver fan fiction, that's what it would be.
I think you need to contact the published.
Yeah. We should talk to Arrowhead on the Discord.
Yeah, can we do licensed work?
It's not like we don't know a publisher.
Yeah.
How about you, Tom? Do you have a book you would write in the Helldivers universe?
Because of the way I approach fictional nonfiction is the best way I can describe what I mostly do. I think of things in terms of like, okay, I want to see a deck plan of the Super Destroyer and how that works. I want to know like how the Super Earth government works. It's like, does a democracy officer report to the Ministry of Information, or is he part of CEF? Like that kind of, I'm interested in that kind of thing.
I know the answer to that one, actually.
Do you?
They talk about it. The democracy officer belongs to the Ministry of Unity.
Of Unity, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so they already have this answered. So I spend time walking
powers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So see, I have to do some research now.
I've just picked it up between like General Brash talking on the overhead and then things that the democracy officer says when you walk up to the table. You can actually get some information from them about the bigger universe, and one of them is the democracy officer explaining about how no, he isn't part of CEF. He belongs to the Ministry of Unity, and he's there to make sure that those armed forces types stay in line.
I figured it would be something like that. So that was, that's the kind of thing I'd like to see. I walk around the ship and I'm like, that door can't go anywhere. There's no room for it. Like, there's how does that work? So.
All right. Well, we are just past 9 o'clock, so thank you guys for coming on here with me. This was a whole lot of fun, and thank you for everyone who watched. We had a really good crowd tonight. But before we close out, authors just talk about Helldivers 2. Again, I want to have you guys go down the line. Tell us what book people should go read of yours, if you've got any signings or conventions or anything coming up, and then we'll close it out. So we'll start with Tom this time.
I don't have any signings or conventions coming up. I think I've done a lot of different things with David and David's co-authors, but the thing that I am most proud of would be House of Steel, which is an older book, but that's got the most of me in it and talking about the Honorverse.
It's an awesome book too. Jason?
Well, my con schedule just kind of went out the window a little bit. But I have a new book out, Mountain of Fire, set in John Ringo's Black Tide Rising universe. Also, a lot of people might not know this. Jamie Ibson and I wrote a book together called Gunboat Diplomacy. Wrote it about 4 years ago now, I think.
Ah.
My first novel.
Cool. Oh, I didn't realize that was your first. Jamie, you're next.
Next out with my name on the cover is going to be Depth Charge. That'll be the Bane anthology about undersea adventures on Earth, Venus, and beyond. That'll be out first week of December. You can look me up on Amazon. I just recently released a trilogy of short story collections, most of my short fiction over the last many years. And then in addition to the writing, I do covers and editing and stuff like that. And you can find all the information about that on my website, which is ibsonwrites.ca.
Jacob?
So I have Freelancers of Neptune coming out October 1st. And so it is a scrappy crew on a rundown ship having adventures in our solar system. But because of how far in the future it is, the solar system is a very different, very dangerous place. And they are after a cache of lost technology, and there are some very, very mean people that are have a heavily armed fleet that are after them.
Sentient coffee trees. My favorite character.
There's also a sentient coffee plant. There's also a cat girl who's on the cover.
Whatever. I don't care.
Yes.
Yes.
Priorities, damn it.
All right. Both of you forgot to mention the signing on October 26th, if that one's still going on. Yeah.
That's
so I'll go ahead and say it and close it out. So Jacob and me and Jason and David Weber are going to be doing a signing on October 26th at the Tangled Web in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We're going to be doing a little panel for an hour at like 2 o'clock. And then from 3 to 5, we are going to be signing and hanging out and whatnot. And it's a local local comic shop to us, but they also have really good coffee. So if you want to just come hang out with authors for 3 hours, we're going to be doing that. I am also going to be guest of honor at Pecan in Fort Worth. Yeah, Fort Worth. That sounds right. Texas in this coming what
next
what
week.
Day is it? Yeah, it's next week. Whoa, yeah. So that is going to be next week. It's an itty bitty little con that is that's just beginning to get off the ground, and so there's going to be lots of time to hang out with me. So yeah, guest of honor is really exciting. But yeah, as for me, I've got I can't even remember what I've got coming out. I'm working on Monster Girl Tamer 2. That's it right now. And my most recent was Monster Girl Tamer 1.
You also have Blood Knight 3 coming out next month.
Oh yeah, Blood Knight 3 is coming out next month too. So too many books. So many books. Oh my gosh. But
I forgot I had
oh, it's been a busy year, you guys. But anyway, I am HP Holo / Edie Skye. Thank you again to Bane for allowing me to stream this on their channel with all their wonderful authors. And this has been Authors Just Talk About Helldivers 2.